Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for your interest and attending the Bambini webinar. We're very excited about presenting this technology to you. My name is Gary Viles. I'm the Chief Technology Officer and founder of Neuro Rehab Recovery. Very proud of our company. We've created a vision of offering multiple neurological technologies to clinicians and patients that are effective, easy to use, and affordable. And we have a full team of clinical specialists. This company is operated by clinicians, and they do all of the clinical training and clinical support. So we have a true partnership with our clinicians and our patients. And for today's presentation, we have two clinical specialists that will be presenting the Bambini Pediatric Exoskeleton. And their names are Holly String and Matilda DeGraff. And there they are. And they are both neuro-trained DPTs, and you will see them again shortly doing the presentation. What I want to do first is I want to do a short PowerPoint just so you have some more information on the Cosmo Robotics company, the manufacturer of the Bambini exoskeleton, and a little bit more about the technology itself, and then we'll go right into the demo. So I'm going to share my screen. So I think everyone can see my screen now, and I will go into a short presentation. As I mentioned, the Neuro Rehab Recovery vision and mission, we want to be a comprehensive developer, distributor, and telehealth company for those that have, suffered a neurological injury or disease. We offer multiple clinical solutions for both upper and lower extremity and overall gait and neurological recovery. We are a young company, but we're growing fast. We have a very strong executive team, a very strong clinical team. We've launched multiple technologies around the globe and are excited to continue to expand our portfolio with some innovative technologies. I'll skip through this. This is just a little bit about myself and my wife, my business partner. We're very busy. We travel a lot, building our brand, building awareness about our company and some of our technologies. We focus mostly on exoskeletons and functional electrical stimulation technologies, but we also have additional technologies as well. And you can always visit our website for more information on that. Here's more information about Holly and Matilda. As I mentioned, they're both neuro-trained DPTs. They have neurological certificates and have significant experience in treating neurological patients and using exoskeletons as part of their treatment. And again, you'll see them in a few minutes. I want to talk to you more about the Bambini now and Cosmo Robotics. They're truly changing the paradigm of exoskeletons. And Cosmo Robotics is the manufacturer, but the brand name is ExoAtlet, and their focus is on productivity, reliability, ease of use, simplicity, and value. The company has been around for almost 9 years now. The company has grown significantly, has over 50 employees in Korea alone and over 100 employees around the globe. It's a very well-funded company. There is a lot of financial investors that believe in their vision, believe in their mission. And the company itself essentially has three CEOs. We have Mr. O, who is essentially the founder and COO of the company. We have Dr. Gon, who is the Chief Technology Officer of the company. And then we have Dr. So, who is the essentially the CFO and financial manager of the company. As I mentioned, over 150 employees around the globe in multiple manufacturing and research facilities, including a newly established office in Los Angeles, California, as the base of operations for Cosmo Robotics and the Exoatlet brand. Of course, Neuro Rehab Recovery. We are the distributor of the Exoatlet EA2 adult exoskeleton and the Bambini Pediatric Exoskeleton in the United States. And understanding that the Bambini is not yet FDA approved, we're actually looking at doing clinical trials, and we are very close to initiating our first clinical trial on the Bambini and expect to have FDA clearance for the Bambini in the middle of 2025. Cosmo Robotics has a full vision of technologies and not just the EA2 and the Bambini. They initially started with the EA1 and now they're on the EA2, and now we're working on the Bambini Teen. But as you can see from this product portfolio, they're also working on a hip flex assist technology as a single joint exoskeleton, working on the XW, which is essentially a knee single joint exoskeleton. We're working on the EA2 Pro, which is the home version of the EA2. We're working on the Exo Effect, which is essentially a wearable gait lab that gives you tremendous amount of kinematic data on your patients. And then we're working on the Bambini Kids. And we're not set on those names yet, but the Bambini Teen will essentially fit patients from ages 7 to 14, and the Bambini Kids will essentially fit patients from 3 to 7. The EA2 was cleared in 2019. As I said, our goal is to get clearance for the Bambini. It'll actually be more towards the middle of 2025. Because what's the problem? The problem is limited dosage and efficacy of some of our current standard of care. And some of the existing exoskeletons have limited functional capabilities, are a little complex to use, and can be very expensive. So we wanted to, enhance all of these capabilities with EA2 and Bambini. And of course, pediatric options are very limited. As you can see, for pediatric options, right now we have a hard frame powered balancing exo made by Trexo Robotics. But it has limitations regarding it. It's integrated into a frame, and it's a very niche market that can use the technology. We have robotic gait systems like the pediatric Locomat, great technology, but again, pretty complex to use and very expensive. We have body weight support technology like the Zero G and the Vector. Again, great technologies, but limited value for complete paralysis or complex gait, and again, very expensive. So we believe that the Bambini is going to fill a gap for many pediatric patients. Here's just an example of the Bambini Kids and the Bambini Teen. And this is actually some examples of children with cerebral palsy that are using the technology. And you'll notice that the Bambini Teen has 6 motors and 12 degrees of freedom. So it has motors at the hip, the knee, and also the ankle, which is very important that we have a robotic ankle for both dorsal and plantar movement during gait. This system is designed to work on smooth surfaces, but it can work on some uneven surfaces. It can also work on inclines, declines, and stairs. And as you can see there, it can even abduct and adduct for lateral movement. To give you an example of a child during her first walk, uh, this video shows her first walk and how excited she was and how excited the clinicians were. So, yes, the Bambini Mini is, again, essentially ages, I think 3 to 7. They indicate 2 to 4, but its height range 28 to 40 inches. Again, not even uh, available in the United States yet. We're working on the Bambini Teen first. Yeah. And the Bambini Teen essentially fits individuals' height of 45 to 61 inches and a weight range under 145 pounds. So this exoskeleton could also work very well um, with petite patients and petite females as well. And some of the advantages to this technology, they got the clinicians are going to show you in just a minute. But the battery in this technology is by far one of the longest lasting batteries of any of the exoskeletons available. And we can make many adjustments to the technology based on step length, step height, walking speed. We have emergency stop functions, and we also have spasticity monitoring as well. And we also have variable assist for parameter changes symmetrically or asymmetrically. So yes, we believe the Bambini is going to offer some significant advantages to gait rehabilitation in children with CP. That's going to be the first indication with the FDA. And we do have some significant clinical data that we can present to you in that regard. We do have different assessments that we will uh, train you on when it comes to patient selection and identifying what would be a good patient to benefit from the Bambini technology. And we've really made it easy to use. It's very important that it be easy to use for clinicians. And so we do have a touchscreen interface. We also have the ability to export treatments and show progress, and we can export those in either PDF or Excel. I already mentioned to you the 8-hour battery life and changing parameters. There's no tools necessary. So when you change sizes between patients, you can do all of that very quickly with internal levers that are built into the system. And the patient can wear their own shoes. They do not need any, inserts or orthotics or special manufactured shoes. I mentioned to you that there is some research available. Again, I can present that research to you. Just send me an email. I'd be happy to send some of that to you. And that's it. I really want to focus on the practical demonstration during this webinar. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to turn it over to Holly and Matilda.
I'm Holly. As Gary mentioned, I'm a physical therapist and one of the clinical specialists for Neuro Rehab Recovery and the Bambini. And Matilda is my camera woman for today and may chime in with some things as we go through the Bambini. So Gary mentioned a few things. As a PT, I love how many patient populations we can use the Bambini for. So CP, TBI, CDA, spinal cord injury, among many others. Basically, any child who has a gait impairment and requires assistance with gait training. You can use the Bambini for. As Gary also mentioned, it's got the highest continuous hours of work out of all exoskeletons. So you can do 4 hours of continuous walking or sitting to standing without having to charge the battery, which is really interesting. Especially that we have that thing between different patients and not having to sit and charge it.
Something changed on the volume.
Can you hear me okay?
That's better now. That's better.
Okay,
Yep.
great. So I was just saying the 4 hours is really amazing, especially in a rehab setting. You can get so much use out of it. So to overview the movements that you can do with the Bambini, sit to stand, stand to sit, marching in place, which I really love. You can do single leg marching or reciprocal marching, which is also an incredible tool in the rehab world. And then you can do gait training and you can do stair training. We'll go through what you can modify within all of those as we go through the use of the Bambini, but that's just an overview of the different functions that you can do. Everything can be either passive, active assisted, static, or active. And you can change that to be bilateral and unilateral as well. In terms of the parts of the Bambini, this is pretty much comes as is in the box, so there's not a huge amount of setup. And I'll talk through what you can adjust in terms of taking parts in and out. So there's the shin compartments right here. This is one size fits all, so these always stay within the Bambini. You can adjust moving the shin compartments back or forward, but with these levers right here by unlocking them and moving the shin back or forwards, depending on the position of the patient's leg. You have the foot components right here. There are 2 different foot plate sizings that tend to fit all patients, and they're easy. There's a screw in the bottom you can take out and insert the new component compartment if you need to. And then as you go up, just to add, also for the foot, you can do pronation and supination as well to adjust the angle. So if anyone has any contractures, that's really important. You can really fit it to the foot's positioning. Yes, and having that flexibility during gait, I think as Gary mentioned, like uneven surfaces, you're able to really practice walking on different surfaces because of that flexibility in the foot plate. Then up here we have the thigh components. These come in extra small, and medium. So really large range. And then same with the trunk component, comes in small and medium. And then the buckles here can be adjusted. Now in terms of fitting your patient, there are 3 main measurements that you will do. So one measure will be from the knee to the lateral side of the ankle. One measurement will be from the knee to the hip, and one will be across the hips to get the trunk width. All of these adjustments of the placement of the different cuffs and the length adjustment of the different shafts are done in the same way. So you're loosening components here, and then you're either pulling apart or pushing together in order to match up the number. So right here it says 340, so that's all done in centimeters. It would be 34, and then you're just adding a 0. So it's very easy. You can note that in your patient's chart within the Bambini, and then also your chart, so that each time you just match up the number here, and then you can match up the number up here in the thigh component as well. And then in the back is where you're going to adjust the trunk. So you'll measure your patient from hip to hip, and then you're loosening here and pulling out or in order to adjust the trunk width. So very easy to adjust. Now, once you have those adjustments and place your patient in the Bambini, which you can do in sitting or supine, to tighten, it's like kind of like a ski boot or a snowboarding boot. So you're using this mechanism here to tighten your patient in, and then a quick release here as well. So very easy. There's one at the foot, one at the shin, one up here on the thigh. And then this is a harness system up in the trunk where you're buckling across with a couple of buckles. There's also some extra padding that's included in your box. So if any part of it is bothering the patient, or if you need a little extra secure, you can stick those pads within the Bambini for those contact areas. Okay. So now what we'll do is I'll do a quick look at the interface, and then we can get going with the demo of how the Bambini looks when it's walking. So don't worry so much if you can't see super close up. Basically, within your system, you're going to have different pilots, and different pilots are different patients. Your rehab center can have its own account, and then each therapist can have their own account, or you can just have one general account for everyone. It's completely up to you. Within your pilot or your patient, you can input all of the measurements that you took when measuring at the beginning, so that you don't have to remember them, and they're all inputted in here, and you can take a look at those. So shank length, thigh length, foot size, circumference, pelvis width, things like that are all here, and it's very easy plus or minus to input those there. Additional settings, you can write down notes if you did any foot eversion, any outward rotation, any hip abduction, and then the back height as well. So these are just additional settings if you want to have those inputted into your Bambini. You can also, within your patient's profile, add different information like their email, phone number, and any comments based on their diagnosis or anything like that. So once you've inputted everything you want to, you can start training. And usually when you're using it for the first time, it'll want to reset in either sitting or standing. So I'm going to just click sit down just so that it's going to calibrate to sitting. And then I'll talk through how we use it. Yeah. So as I talked about in the beginning, there's a few different things that you can do with the Bambini. So sit to stand, stand to sit, marching in place, and walking and stair training, stepping up and stepping down. As a user of the Bambini and a therapist, it's really easy to navigate. So you're going to have your hands either side here and a nice wide base of support when you're using the Bambini, and then you're going to shift your weight as you walk with the Bambini as well. There's a few buttons on the back here. There's a red emergency stop button here, and then there's a black button here that if you can either press start on the screen, or you can use this as your start button as well. Another thing to note, which I really love, is there's a few different options in terms of how you're doing your training. For example, if I'm doing gait training, I can have it as continuous, meaning I can input that I want a cadence to step every 0.3 seconds, for example, or I can have it as step by step, meaning I can use this black button to initiate each step, and I can decide when each step is being taken. So I love those two different options, and I'll talk you through a little bit more once we're up and standing. But just to overview what that black button is also for. So what I'll do now is I'm going to press stand up. It's going to give me some beeps. Then when I'm ready, I'm going to press the black button. That. Okay, so I'm going to just come around. Okay, so I've been told to show the screen for a second. So here, hopefully you can see there's different movement settings. So standing up, I'll talk through just quickly. Standing up, you can do time to stand up as short, medium, long, or custom, meaning how long it takes to go from sit to stand, and the angle of the knee bend as well, which can be important if your client has any contractures. The biggest one I'll highlight, because I don't want to go through every single one of them, is with walking forward and gait training. There's so many things that you can change, which I really love. Step duration, pause time between steps, step length, step height, and step initiation mode. So step initiation mode is what I talked about, that continuous stepping or step by step where I press the black button. And then, which we also mentioned in the overview, is you can do an active assisted mode, meaning you can set it to have the client initiate, for example, slight hip flexion, and then have the exoskeleton take over. So that's a really nice continuum of care there. So in walk mode right now, I have it, I'm going to do it on step by step, save my changes quickly as that, and then go back to training. And then I'll go back into walk mode, which I'll do, I'm going to move the chair slightly, just, and then I'll have you guys watch how it walks. It's always going to initiate with the left foot. And I'm pressing that black button. So that was the walking forward. You can see very fluid and also very easy for me to manage. With walking in place, which is something we use a lot, especially for those clients who aren't quite ready for that forward progression, you can change step duration, the pause time, step height, and then specifically walking mode is a new one here. So as I mentioned, you can do this with both legs or you can do a single leg march. So really great for someone who has one side you're working on. And then you can also do this step-by-step, continuous or active assisted with this. So I have it as step-by-step and both right and left. So I will show you walking in place and also show you how I would do a turn while in this mode. So just walking in the steps. So I'm going to start doing a turn. Show face us the other way. And then I'll do a walk forward and I'll change it to continuous just so you guys can see that as well. So that was a continuous mode. And then you can just see, so you can use the walking in place to turn, or it's pretty easy even with a light patient in to pivot around like this, which I really like as well.
It doesn't look very heavy. It seems like you can manipulate it pretty easily.
I definitely can. And having worked with other exoskeletons, I very much appreciate that too. It helps as well with patient care and co-treats and lack of co-treats, being able to do it alone. So I'm going to click sit down. And you can see, as Holly demonstrated, how easy you can move between the different modes and adjust as the patient's in the device. So that's really important too. You don't have to have them sit down, adjust something, stand back up, sit down, adjust something. You can do it as they're standing in place. You can adjust what kind of mode you want it in. So that's really also makes your session a lot more efficient and you can get a lot more done. For sure. I think like one of the things I use the most in using the Bambini is that marching in place. I love that feature because it works really well in the parallel bars. And if someone does require a harness for gait training the first time, and you don't have either the harness or the extra hands, it's really nice to still be able to use the exo and get that repetitive functional training with walking in place. I also wanted to quickly review the outcomes that you get when using the Bambini. I just have a list of them here. So once you've used it with your client, it saves all the data. You can even insert notes within your training session. For example, worked better with this gait speed, things like that. So at the end of each session, you'll have total training time, the amount of time spent doing any activity throughout the entire session, whether it's standing, walking, stairs, average speed during walking that they maintained, verticalization, which is the max amount of time they spent in standing, the distance they walked, the amount of time they spent doing walking specifically, the longest walk time they had, the number of steps taken, and then, as I said, comments. So you can comment within each session, and these will come up in your report too, and you can send them via PDF or an Excel file to your computer. So those are really nice outcomes to have after each session, after each week or month, or whatever you're tracking in your rehab. And I think that's quite unique as well to have that ability. And that comes up in a journal tab. So really easy interface to use, especially for something like this, to be able to bring it out of the box and not have to have memorized, okay, how am I even doing this? You can get it out, look at the tablet, and it's very self-explanatory how to get into your function.
Yeah, let's look at the screen again, just at the different sit to stand, just how it comes up, how you switch between the different modes. Yeah.
So you have stand up, sit down. So you can click on any of those. Then you have walk forward, walk in place, and climb stairs. Within each of these, if I want to change any of them throughout my training session, I click movement settings, and I can go through each one and edit all of what we talked about earlier. So walk in place, you see the step duration, step height, walk forward, the different modes.
And notice you can also customize it. You can have short, medium, long, or custom.
Exactly, yeah. So, which is really nice, yeah. And then climb stairs, that we don't have stairs right now, but just so you can see what it looks like. Similarly, you can set that step duration, the depth of the step, the height of the step, whether there's a handrail, and whether you're doing upstairs or downstairs. So really nice features there as well. And then you're just saving the settings at the top if you made any adjustments, going back, and then you're back to the home screen. And then throughout your session at the top, it continues to tell you a running how much time you've been standing, how much time you've walked, how many steps you've taken. So that's nice as a motivator. For example, with your patient, you want to say, I want us to take at least 60 steps during this session. Say we're at 25 right now, so we've got to do at least 2 or 3 more walks to get to your step goal. So some nice features there as well. And I think
could you comment?
Yeah.
Could you comment on the benefit of being able to change step height, step length, and speed? And you can do that. You can make changes symmetrically or asymmetrically, correct?
Yes. So with step height, there can be a few reasons you'd want to change this. A main one a lot with the pediatric world would be with range of motion limitations or spasticity and tone. You can also use that step height to try and increase that range. Another one, obviously, weakness, wanting to get them to a higher step length and that repetition of using those muscles. We can use that active assisted feature there to have them really try and lift up and use the motion to trigger the exoskeleton to move with them. And then step length, most of the time we'll have a goal step length for our clients, and one of our big goals is usually to have that nice reciprocal step length step through pattern with our patients. So step length is super important for that.
And then with speed, again, if we have a goal of someone to be a household ambulator or a community ambulator, that's really something you can work towards each session, trying to increase that speed. And then also that speed as well will add to that intensity. So it will add to the number of steps you can get out of that with that client, that session, which ultimately improves that functional outcome. The more that you can walk throughout a session, the intensity of the training will ultimately help you reach your goals quicker. So those are all really good features of those.
Yeah, and just having more numbers to track and prove progress, whether it's to insurance or whether you're doing a research project, something like that, it's just more numbers that you can use to graph in the future, or just show your patient, show the doctor that they are improving.
Agreed. And I also agree with you that march in place function is unique and very beneficial to start out. Can you comment on when you would use step by step versus continuous step?
Yeah. From my personal experience, when I'm first using it with a patient, I'm using the step by step. For example, you just don't know how your patient's going to respond. So to have that option and for you to be in control of when they're going to take the next step versus if they're in a continuous motion and you'd have to, it's easy to do on this, but you'd have to suddenly press stop and then restart it again. Versus you as a therapist can say, okay, we're ready, weight shift and now step with the left, or weight shift and now step with the right. And so you have that total control with your client, which is really nice. Another example would be, I feel like when you're practicing transfers, there can be various different transfers you're practicing, and it's nice to have that ability to step, turn, get yourself to that next chair. Versus continuous, once you're really into that gait training, I love the continuous because you can get that high intensity continuous gait training. It's a really nice way to slowly increase the speed as well. So that's usually the most useful ways I use both of those. And I think the patient really appreciates that too, knowing that you're in control of when that next step is, especially at the beginning.
And before I forget, I want to mention we don't have them with us today and we didn't demonstrate them, but we do have smart crutches. And those crutches do connect to the unit via Bluetooth. And it allows the patients, if you feel comfortable as a clinician, to have more control over the modes and the initiation and termination of steps. So that is available with this system as well.
Yes, those are great.
Well, great demonstration. We really love this technology. We think it's going to be a fantastic option for pediatric gait training. The smile on the face of the child, says it all. If you want any additional information from us, please reach out to us. We can do some individual demonstrations for accounts that are interested. And we will be at APTA CSM in Houston this year, and we'll have the technology there as well if you want to see it in person. Matilda, Holly, anything else from you?
I don't think so. I think just highlighting how easy it is to use, and it'll really improve the efficiency of your treatment as well as the effectiveness, and being able to do so much more with your patient than you would if you didn't have the exoskeleton. I think we've already highlighted how to be able to do sit, stand, stand, sit, walk in place, stairs, walking, all of that in one session with your client is so important for their rehab. And as physical therapists, that's what you really need, something that you can use easily and effectively with your client.
The patients love being in it.
Yeah.
It's really, as Gary was saying, like seeing the smiles on their faces when they're in this and able to function differently and more. That's what it's all about.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Holly and Matilda, and thank everybody for tuning in and your interest. And again, reach out to us with any more information. We would love to partner with you.
Great.
Have a good
Thank you. Bye.
day.